The title of this podcast is A Strength Overused Becomes a Liability. This was inspired by my friend Dawn Peters. She's since retired at Mayo Clinic. And in my role at Mayo Clinic, I have the good fortune, thanks to Dawn and some other people, to partner with a great friend and mentor, Dr. Terry Tretman. And our work is to help with physician leadership development. And I'm humbled to be a part of this work because I've gotten to know some really amazing doctors. And I've also got to know some doctors who are amazing in one aspect and perhaps underdeveloped in another aspect, particularly the people part of it. But none of us come out with as finished products. We have areas that we can work and improve upon. And I'm grateful that the physicians that I get to work with are open to growing themselves as well as helping me grow. In this particular case, regarding a strength overuse becoming a liability, he and I were talking about some leaders who had expressed interest in uh, more broader leadership across the enterprise. They were at a point in their careers where they've had some leadership and they aspired to more. And as we were discussing traits of a few of the leaders, one thing that we touched upon quite a bit was areas in which a leader was really proficient, excellent in, but they were overusing that trait, that talent, that skill. And in doing so, other parts of their leadership were being neglected, were underdeveloped, and it was really a liability. And for example, someone who is detail oriented, that kind of focus can also make them miss other opportunities to turn their focus, to apply their talents. It also can rub other people around the wrong way if you are ultra focused or hyper focused to the extent that you spend all the time on those things, most of which could be trivial, at the expense of building relationships, creating connection and partnership. A lot of times when you do that, there's this idea that I can't wait for anyone else to do it, or they won't do it as well as I can, so I might as well do it myself. Let me tell you, that can rub people the wrong way. How do I know? Because I rubbed people a long way with that kind of behavior. And it can also rob them the opportunity of applying their talents to the same task, but doing it in a creative way that may even produce a better outcome. And if they don't have the skill set to do it, you could rob them of the opportunity of developing the skill set to work on that project or apply to a specific task. So in any case, I think it's true that if you overuse your strengths, they can become liabilities. In my case, I was very controlling. And I didn't recognize it as that at the time, but it was part of that what's the word I'm looking for? It's part of one of the costs of being a perfectionist. While you are striving for excellence, striving for perfection, in doing so, you rub a lot of people the wrong way. You become frustrated and experience quite a bit of suffering if it doesn't produce a certain outcome. And even if it does, you don't enjoy it or savor it because you're on to the next thing. And then lastly, anybody who falls short of what your standard is, they're made to feel less than, blamed, or punished. So there's nothing good that comes out of overusing a strength like controlling. In some cases, I can see where controlling could be beneficial, but if it is to the extreme, it actually becomes counterproductive, especially in the reality of the world in which we live, which is you have control over very little, very little. And it makes me wonder why people, and myself included, spend so much time trying to control things that were literally uncontrollable and the suffering that it caused. But when I was doing it, I was unaware that I was suffering. I was unconscious. And so I just kept that same behavior. And once I recognized how little I had control over, I was able to let things go. I was able to not be inclined to celebrate that as a strength. Instead, I saw it as an impediment to me being happy, to me partnering with other people in a way that creates win-wins for both of us, for us to have equal autonomy, equal opportunity to contribute. And so I encourage you to look in your life, to do a little self-assessment and evaluate your strengths and to see if there are some that are being overused. And if you don't have the ability to do that kind of introspection, ask other people in your life. Tell them what your strengths are and ask them, are they being overused? And if so, do they also agree that they're actually a liability for the things that you really want? For me, I really want to experience joy. I want to feel fulfilled and I want to create win-wins with other people. And my strengths were being overused in such a way that I was doing the exact opposite of all those things. So just a recommendation, a suggestion, take a look at your strengths. Maybe they're not as good as you think they are.